Russia's foreign minister is casting doubt over the push for peace in Ukraine. He says there's no planned meeting between Putin and Zelensky, and key issues, including the dispute over the Donbass region, remain unresolved. Retired four-star General Jack Keane joining me now. General, diplomacy is at a standstill. Where's this thing going?
Yeah, well, it remains to be seen, certainly. All the optimism we had as a result of the president talking to Putin in Alaska and coming out of that meeting, thinking that, he was willing to talk about security guarantees for Ukraine and possibly a meeting with President Putin and Zelensky itself. That led to what we all witnessed was something quite historical and unique, and that is all the European leaders showing up here in Washington, D.C. the following Monday after he made a phone call that night when he finished a meeting with Putin and Zelensky as well, all leading towards putting together a plan which has been going on for days now, led by the Pentagon and the State Department, in terms of what should these security guarantees be for Ukraine. The Europeans' participation and the United States obviously is what's being discussed. So all of that optimism and that momentum is moving forward, thinking that certainly the next step would be, as previously discussed, a meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky. But here we have Lavrov, the foreign minister who's been at Putin's side for over 20 years, on an American talk show this weekend, saying nothing of the kind. There'll be a meeting when the agenda is right, and right now the agenda is not right. And what is he talking about there? Well, they're still putting on the table for Ukraine to give up all that territory in the Donbass, territory that they haven't been able to take in 3.5 years. And they're also talking about the fact that there should be no membership in NATO. And then, given the fact that security guarantees was the subject of all the discussion in Washington, D.C., Lavrov says there'll be no Western troops in Ukraine. Well, first of all, he doesn't have a veto over something like that. That's Ukraine's security, and the Europeans, the United States, want to help them with it. So what does it mean? It looks like they're pushing back on that meeting and doing what we've seen before, Stuart, which is delay, stall, under the cover of negotiations. So that's kind of where we are. It must be disappointing for the Trump team here to be dealing with this. I mean, hopefully they're talking privately and we're getting public declarations, and maybe there's some progress there. But I got to believe that the Trump administration is putting together a plan to leverage the Russians. Tough tariffs and sanctions that you've talked about in detail, and also open up Russia offensively to Ukraine to be able to attack deep into Russia, give them the weapons to do it, and then tell the Russians also, not only are we going to do that, we're going to make certain the Ukrainians got all the weapons they need to stop your offense that's going on right now, and also for them to be able to counterattack.
I can't imagine.
I think we got to look at the fact that leverage is part of the peace process, Stuart. The leverage is important, and we may be at that stage where we got to use it.
Got it. One more for you, General. The Defense Department reportedly planning to send the military into Chicago as part of Trump's crackdown on crime. Do you support using our military resources in our own cities?
Well, given the fact that crime is at epic stages, and I think we've seen that in Washington, D.C., which its homicide rate leads the nation, and the fact is, if it was a state, it would be the leading state of murders in the country. And what has happened as a result in just 12 days, no murders, over 900 people arrested. I've been out, I go into D.C., I live in Northern Virginia, but I go to church in D.C., and I go out into the city for other reasons. And the National Guard presence, it feels different that they're there, Stuart. And I think they have a presence of orderliness, law and order, even though they're not carrying weapons and they're not moving around like police do. But the fact that they're there seems to provide some stability. It keeps the criminals away. You would think there would be cooperation between these mayors, like Mayor Bowser is with President Trump, in these other cities that would welcome some federal resources to help them with problems. We all know they have significant staffing problems. It's unfortunate that the mayors are not willing to cooperate.
It's not the end of democracy as we know it, is it?
Far from it. It seems to me one of the fundamental things of a democratic society is to protect its people. And we have elected people to do that. That's the obligation, the first obligation they have to them, to provide safe communities where they can live with their children, send their kids to schools, go to the market, and go to work. That's fundamental to the success of a democratic republic. And we're having major failure in these cities in doing that.
Nobody's ever done this before. Well, maybe some administrations have done this before, but not on the scale that Mr. Trump is doing it now. And it's having results. I call it the revolution. I think Trump has engineered a revolution because he's doing things exactly differently from the previous administration. So, last 30 seconds to you, if I may.
Yeah, well, I think the awareness of the fact that here we have the President of the United States, and obviously all the issues that he has to deal with as president, and we just dealt with one in Ukraine. There's also Iran and the Middle East and China, and the list goes on, and the border, which he successfully closed. But he looks at, I haven't had this discussion with him, but he looks at the American people as his responsibility. And even though we have local officials, you know, who have the resources and the means to protect them, he feels an obligation to do something about it. At a minimum, he's raising huge awareness about the problem, and he's got to be forcing these leaders in these communities as a result of what he's threatening to do, you know, to start focusing on this problem and get these criminals off the street and get the guns off. This isn't rocket science.
No.
I mean, we got people running around with guns and shooting people. In Chicago this weekend, you know, the mayor's saying he doesn't want any help. 27 shootings, 4 stabbings, Stuart, this weekend. They take that as normal. They accept it. It's kind of in their DNA. How tragic is that?
General, I'm out of time, but this is a unique presidency. General Keane, thanks for joining us, sir. Always a pleasure. I'll see you again soon. Got it.
You betcha.